the feminist movement, the Republican movement in this country, any dissident movement, punk rock, rap music. The temptations are power to control the kingdom, a wealth to produce bread, a good PR and status to jump off the tower. That's what they are scripturally. Getting people to understand and talk about real issues, breaking down barriers of prejudice and hate.
Our square, it belongs to anybody who wants truth, and anybody who wants to get up and speak is more than welcome to get up.
It's hugely important that people know that they have the freedom to say anything they want, that there is an occasion where they know people will be there. Knows the craft, you might want to know other craft. I don't think
what we're encouraging simply is citizenship, that people should be curious, they should question the government, question us on our perspectives and debate these issues at Speaker's Corner.
I think there's a massive amount of symbolism. I think with all the shop fronts around us, and we're living in an increasingly commercialised world, and there's less and less public space, this sort of thing has been infringed on all the time.
You know, you never know who's coming through the place. It's a great cross-section.
You know, had the idea about 10 years ago, the idealistic trying to, I'm still idealistic though. So I approached Stephen's Green about it, and they said you're not allowed, some old law states that you're not allowed to have, you're not allowed to discuss political or religious matters in Stephen's Green, some old bylaw that the English enacted. So that was their way of kind of quelling the Irish free spirit. And there was the OPW doing the same thing. So I asked Temple Bar Properties, and they hadn't built these squares yet. And they said, get back to us when we built the squares, we'd be interested in something like that. Then this guy, he's the traditional music art officer in the Arts Council, became the head, and I'd spoken to him before, and I knew he'd be interested. He's a Northerner, and I knew he'd be interested in that kind of thing. And he gave it the green light. And I got ringing people. I had all these ideas initially that people would come up and write their name on a blackboard, and I had envisioned that there'd be, 5 podiums in use all the time, and that people would come up and write their names, and it would be regulated like that. And they'd spend 20 minutes, and the very first day, all my ideas went out the window.
I've said enough on that topic.
It's generally, there's up to 30 to 40 people will come down and get up to speak at over the course of the day. But it's varying, and depending on what I'm trying to give it focus. Like now and again, I gave it the focus of the I tried to get all these politicians to come down, or local politicians, and I rang 100 of them, 30 of them agreed. And then the next thing is I have only 5 of them turn up. Politicians' promises, huh? Yeah. There's one guy who, disabled an airplane down in Shannon, and he's up every week talking about, Christian anarchism and peace activism.
Well, I'm from the Dublin Catholic Worker Community. We're a radical Christian anarchist pacifist group, and 5 of us are awaiting trial for disarming a warplane at Shannon Airport. So we're quite regulars down at Speaker's Corner, explaining what we did and why we did it, and very committed to the beachhead of free expression that we've initiated there. I think it's important. I think we're only being tolerated there by the business community because we are a bit of a tourist attraction, and eventually they'll try and eliminate us, because hopefully people will actually listen to what we're saying and start organising and stop consuming so much. And
anybody who wants to get up and speak is more than welcome to get up and speak. And I'm only trying to start the ball rolling, so to speak.
Well, initially I went along to record it. I started to go along and record stuff. I have a mini disc and do an hour programme called Majority World on Near FM every week, and the community radio station. And the thing is, So I just went along to record it, generally speaking, and just to get a nice atmosphere and vibe. And well, you know, it was too much. It was too good. I couldn't hold myself back. I learn from other people, and I think it's fantastic listening to them, and I engage with them. And if I disagree with what they're saying, I just chip in, and then they come back, and we do. Yeah, it's a brilliant process.
Well, I'm involved in a group called Residents Against Racism. And it was during the campaign for a no vote in the referendum, which was a bit of a disaster at the end of the day, you know. But Speaker's Corner wasn't a disaster, and actually through the whole campaign we made a lot of very valuable contacts.
People are very passive, you know, they're treated as passive consumers all the rest of the week, so they come into this environment and they don't know how to take the initiative.
Some people are just, they're not going to get up regardless of anything, like the audience is just about anybody. I think a lot of tourists, the place that it is, being right in the tourist district of Dublin, would attract a lot of passing tourists.
Well, it's significant in the sense that the message they get in the context of the medium, it's a very personal medium. So if they're waiting and they want to get off the soapbox and they want a personal conversation, you're actually going to get a lot more connection there, and they may come to court with you rather than they see you on TV, you know, and then you disappear and that's followed by a commercial break. It's actually a very significant form of communication.
Maybe it just shows us that there's nothing that will replace the personal contact. I think that's the answer, really.
I'm going to talk about drink, okay? Now, drink, fucking drink. Yeah, I talk about drink. I talk about drink because I have seen many examples of people's lives completely fucked up by drink, by their children fucked up by it, the relationship fucked up completely.
There certainly were people who were just passing by and then had an opinion and something to say on the subject, and who would get up and speak well.
Try out your opinions here. It's great, but you have to be ready to back them up. And if you're not making any sense, people tend to kind of walk away or tune out. You know.
I believe there's a level of complicity between.
You know what I mean? Have to go. You know what I mean? Come down in the hole that was up in that building. That wasn't what we played. That was probably what this man died.
No, I mean, I'm willing to accept that there was some level of complicity between the American government and the Al-Qaeda unit that carried out 9/11. In the same way that the British military allowed certain IRA operations to happen,
It did.
enabled them to then use that as a way of escalating their troop presence in Northern Ireland. Now that's history, okay?
I think free speech means everyone should be able to speak, and there's been a couple of racist speakers there, and I've defended their right to speak. I think those attitudes should get expressed and debated and argued against, and so there's been a bit of conflict over that.
Part of democracy is civil disobedience, and that means not agreeing with certain opinions and certain things. And I think people have to have a chance not to agree with things, because there's always a better solution out there. And if you're not getting to hear it, then people get angry. They start drinking. They start turning in on themselves. So there's a chance to let opinions blossom and people feel express themselves. You know, that's just a chance for people to express themselves and all the positive benefits of that. If you see the people who are the people who are listening to on a continuous basis are the same olds who are dragged out of journalist schools and TDs you'll see on the news, and these are the people who are constantly being asked their opinions I think there's a lot more articulate people out there that people aren't getting a chance to hear.
I think the mistake people make is to think that media is somehow some kind of objective social service, where media, the economic basis for media is to sell attention spans. Attention spans are the commodity, and they get our attention spans through mud wrestling or football or the soaps, and then they sell it to corporations who want to sell us stuff. So that's the primary reason television exists, and then the secondary reasons are to push the political agendas of people who own them. So General Electric, who own NBC, General Electric makes nuclear weapons, makes the guns on helicopter gunships, etc. And they own one of the three major television networks in the United States. So they're not going to give you an objective perspective on the war that's going on.
I think we're living in the corporate media age where people have their brains soothed by the most anodyne and most inane tripe. This media is becoming far more pervasive. It's like a soundtrack to everybody's lives now, especially news media. And it sets the agenda of what people talk about in pubs and everything like that. Speaker Square, again, steps outside of all that. And people can raise their own agendas, whatever's pushing them in a particular week.
What do I see in the future? To rename the square to Speaker Square in a year's time, to have a sculpture set up in the corner there that'll be basically a box. Let it be known that Ireland is taking a great leap to allow citizens have their say with minus slander laws, minus libel laws. I'm going to go to the Department of Justice with the head of Temple Bar Properties and seek that this will be enshrined in whatever laws there are. And what else we see, that this will be something that will happen all over the country, and that Ireland will become a better place for better opinionated and more active.
The outside or the inside, whether it's the poor or whether it's communist or fundamentalist. I'm going to end here because my voice is going. Yeah, the hurling's going. Catch you later. Thank you.